It's wonderful to have the cast of Thar with us. The one and only one, Anil Kapoor, Satish Kaushik, Fatima, Shaikh, and Harsh. Pleasure having you guys with us on Bollywood Hungama.
Thank you.
And Anil sir, पहला सवाल मेरा आपसे और सतीश सर से है. आपने सतीश जी को 201 से 501 रुपए आपने दिलवाए बोनी जी से. तो ये सिलसिला आगे भी चलता रहा फिल्मों में कि मतलब सिर्फ उसी फिल्म तक महदूद था?
रूप की रानी तक चला, उसके बाद फिर बंद हो गया.
500 के जो है ना 5-6 करोड़ मैंने नुकसान कराया असल में.
उस जमाने के 5-6 करोड़, आज के 50 करोड़.
I think you guys share a brilliant bond. I think it's so amazing to see that. So how important is that level of longevity for relationships for you?
I think these things cannot be planned. I think somewhere with God's grace and किसी की नज़र ना लगे.
Definitely.
और चलता रहे ये सिलसिला और रिश्ता.
सतीश जी कुछ कहना चाहेंगे आप?
मुझे लगता है कि कई बार मेरे लिए बड़ा इम्पोर्टेंट है रिलेशनशिप को संभाल के रखना, उसको सजा के रखना. बिकॉज कई बार क्या होता है कि हम अपनी फैमिली के साथ कम रहे होते हैं बिकॉज ऑफ आवर प्रोफेशनल करियर्स, लेकिन आप दोस्तों के साथ ज़्यादा रहते हैं, ज़्यादा वक्त जो है दोस्तों के साथ बिताया जाता है. तो कई बार जो रिलेशनशिप बनते हैं, जो डिवाइन होते हैं, जो ऊपर से बन के आते हैं, बोलते हैं रिश्ते कुछ ऐसे होते हैं जो कैसे होगा. किसी को क्या पता था कि मेरा और अनिल का रिश्ता वो 7 दिन से इनकी पहली जो फिल्म थी वहीं से शुरू होगा. देखा जाए तो मेरी भी पहली फिल्म थी जिसमें मैंने 2 डायलॉग का रोल किया था. लेकिन जब वो रिश्ते बन जाते हैं ना तो उसको संभाल के रखना मेरे लिए, मतलब मैं पर्सनली उसको जो है बड़ा मानता हूँ. और मेरे को लगता है कि वो आपको बहुत पावर देते हैं और बहुत उसको मतलब आपको कॉन्फिडेंस ज़्यादा मिलता है उन स्ट्रॉन्ग रिश्तों की वजह से. और अनिल के साथ तो मेरा डेफिनेटली वैसा रहा है बिकॉज ही हैज़ बिन पार्ट ऑफ माई जर्नी, माई सक्सेस, माई पर्सनल इमोशनल अपीवल्स, एवरीथिंग ही हैज़ बिन पार्ट ऑफ दैट. So it is very, very important, I think, to keep those relationships intact.
Harsh, do you have similar sort of thoughts maybe with your relationship with, say, Vikram Motwani, for example? I think he has been a huge influence in you. Would you want that 40 years down the line?
I mean, he should. If he calls me back, then maybe. But no, honestly, I think with Vikram, it's more kind of like a mentor-student sort of thing. I think with them, it's more like they're brothers. So it's a slightly different, but obviously done the 2 films with Vikram, and I think he, in a way, is a very harsh critic, but also can be very encouraging. So I hope he watches this film. I don't know.
Right, but when you thought of becoming a producer with Thar, did you consult him? Did you speak to him? Do you speak to him?
This film was actually brought to me by Vikram.
Acha, interesting.
So he brought me this film when he was editing Bhavesh in March 2018. He was supposed to produce it, actually.
Okay.
And then he couldn't because I think Anurag and him Phantom stopped making films at that time. And so then I took it. Raj was a very new director. I was new, and it was quite a different sort of a little bit of a challenging kind of film, not the traditional Hindi film format kind of film that you see.
Right.
So I kind of just assumed the role and we kind of went from there. So yeah, Vikram is very inspiring in terms of trying to do something different every time and kind of chasing his own individuality. And he's got a lot of discipline, and he's a perfectionist. He doesn't settle for a 7 on 10 or an 8 on 10 is not good enough for Vikram. He needs it to be 10. So
right. So the sort of film it looks like, visually it looks, I think, stunning. Obviously, a woman has filmed it, so it has to be as good as best. But do you feel that with, say, Minlan Murali trending in various parts of the world, we can see something like Thar doing something similar? Because you need subtitles. I think the language will find its own way.
I think that's a really interesting question, Faridoon, because see, the Minal Murali thing is that the superhero genre has an inherent audience worldwide, So something like that will always kind of work on an algorithm of a platform and kind of get viewers from all over the world interested in that kind of thing, because superhero fans exist all over the planet, like they're all over there. But this is, again, it's a Western, and Westerns are kind of loved in other parts of the world, including the States, in Europe and stuff like that. So that would be a beautiful surprise because we've taken a very Indian story,
right,
but told it with a kind of a global aesthetic, and the themes and the overall emotional core, which we can't speak about too much, are very universal. So it's a great blend of really unique world building, but simplicity in terms of the emotional core of the film.
Right.
But in terms of the narrative, it's really interesting because you can't. It's not spoon fed to the audience who is the good guy, who is the bad guy, who is the protagonist, who is the antagonist. They're just characters that are in this world, and you have to decide as a viewer whether you like them, don't like them, or indifferent towards them. So,
Fatima, when you're doing a film like Thar, for example, is it away from your comfort level? We can say that
नहीं
in terms of language and
मैं
diction.
तो हर फिल्म में कोई ना कोई
Yeah,
डायलेक्ट
that yeah, you have.
So, but as an actor, you want something challenging. Otherwise, फायदा क्या है? अगर आप comfortable हो. So, the interesting part was that कि मैं ये genre के बारे में जानती नहीं हूँ. So, I'm being educated as I'm working and as I'm meeting really interesting directors and getting to read and be a part of interesting scripts. So, मैं आपका सवाल भूल गई.
That's okay.
मैं
Say when it comes to say dialect, for example, what is your approach to getting the dialect right?
बार-बार पढ़ते जाओ, सुनते जाओ, and we had a very lovely dialect coach. He is from Rajasthan. So he used to read the dialogues and I used to hear it out and I used to repeat, and by the end of it, it just got into my system. So
Right.
he's also in the film.
he's also in the film.
He's also in the film.
Yes.
That's
His
interesting.
name is Sanjay.
Sanjay.
He's an incredible actor.
Yeah.
That's great. All right, Anil sir, your director mentioned about Joshile as one of the reference points, as like a Western sort of thing. But I feel that you've always really been fascinated with the Western genre. मुझे लगता है Clint Eastwood कहीं ना कहीं आपके एक idol है. मुझे ऐसा लगता है. This is something that I feel in terms of styling and all that.
See, to be honest with you, nothing to do with my fascination. I've been fortunate that there are certain stories and certain materials, certain directors who wanted me, like for example, Thar. Thar भी एक ऐसी कहानी है, ऐसा script था जो the director was keen that I should be part of it, and then Harsh and Raj, convinced me to be part of it, and I'm so happy that I'm part of it. So it's not that I have made the choices. I've been fortunate that a lot of films which I've done, they are not my choices. The directors were, kind enough to cast me in those films, and I became part of those films. And where Mashal is concerned, where Meri is concerned, where Joshile is concerned, these are films written by Javed Saab.
Jabaz?
Of course, Jabaz was, Firoz Saab was the eternal Western cowboy of our country.
Right.
And God bless him and may his soul rest in peace. But I had one of the most wonderful times working on Jabaz. And of course, I won those Western boots, which I had bought from America. And they're still with me. And I used to love wearing those boots. And I was so excited about the boots that usually the pants are supposed to be over the boots. बट मैं अपने बूट्स को शो ऑफ करना चाहता था, तो आप देखेंगे कि जो मेरे जीन्स हैं वो बूट्स के अंदर है और बूट ज़्यादा नज़र आ रहे हैं, जीन्स कम नज़र आ रहे हैं. So that was the excitement to wear those boots and of course I didn't get an option to wear hat so much, but Firoz Saab made it up where he was doing romantic scenes with the guitar and with his hat on. And he's the only one who could really carry it. And of course, the first really good Western, he was one of the stars and was directed by Narendra Bedi, a film called Kote Sikke.
Of course.
Which was a very successful film and was, I think, inspired by Magnificent Seven.
Right.
And Magnificent Seven again has been made in Hollywood. And there are a lot of films till now. This Western genre is so sexy that filmmakers all over the world are still making it. Like Django was of Tarantino was a fantastic film. But for Thar, what I feel is it's a Western noir, but the story is very rooted, very Indian. And so I'm happy that I'm part of it.
Satish ji, you're having a fantastic time, I think, right now. As we were just talking a short while back, you're having some really nice shows happening for you. And मुझे ऐसा अभी मैं आपका एक इंटरव्यू कहीं मैं देख रहा था, तो आप NSD का आप जिक्र कर रहे थे, and you seem so passionate about it. Do you feel that in a way this entire OTT sort of I think revolution that many people are saying we're having right now, it has really given a new boost of life, like a lease of life in a way to actors like you?
Yes, partly yes, definitely, but it is more your own journey also. That what you believe in, how passionate you are. For me, it was very necessary to at this age. It is like जब हम शुरू में आते हैं ना स्ट्रगल करने के लिए, तो हम किसी ना किसी को इम्प्रेस करते हैं, फिर हम बहुत काम कर लेते हैं, फिर एक चेंज ओवर का टाइम आता है. चेंज ओवर का टाइम आता है, whether it is a time for you to get shunted out also, or if you have to move forward, you have to do something and you have to believe in something and you have to kind of make your connect with the youngsters. जैसे हम पहले बड़ों से सीखते हैं, तो आपको यंगस्टर्स से सीखना पड़ता है. तो आई थिंक आई वॉज गोइंग थ्रू दैट लिटिल क्लिक, that time which happened with few films, like with Scam it happened, Udta Punjab it happened, So for me it was very necessary to change myself, my acting style or my filmmaking style, which happened with Kagaz. It is so I went through that and I got successful, but I worked hard for it.
Of course.
I worked hard for it because for me it is very necessary to impress the younger generation. Wherever you go, चाहे आप यंगस्टर्स हो या आप ये चेंजिंग पीरियड में हो, आपको कुछ तो ऐसा करना पड़ेगा जो आप यंग डायरेक्टर्स को. आज मैं इतने यंग डायरेक्टर्स के साथ काम कर रहा हूँ. राज के साथ काम किया है मैंने, राज एनडीके के साथ काम किया, शाहद अली के साथ काम किया, अभिषेक चौबे के साथ काम किया. तो वो बहुत ज़रूरी होता है. जैसे थार पे मैं काम कर रहा था, तो मेरे लिए बड़ा ज़रूरी था कि मैं, ये बड़ी अजीब बात लगेगी आपको, पर मैं इसमें बिलीव करता हूँ. आई बिलीव इन दिस, दैट व्हेन एवर यू आर वर्किंग, you're trying to impress some people with your work and with your commitment and with your dedication and with your talent, So Thar was again a platform for me. मैं जानता हूँ कि हर्षवर्धन कपूर believes in certain kind of cinema. He's very passionate actor. He is very passionate about cinema. He has got some connect with certain directors whom he believes in, and he believes in certain so when I'm joining the team of Thar, he's the youngest in that, or Fatima is there, or other people are there. So or even my best friend Anil Kapoor, I have to do something to impress them with this thing. Look, here is Satish Kaushik. Satish Kaushik is new. Satish Kaushik is changed. Look, Harshvarrdhan Kapoor, that I am not that Satish uncle.
Sir, you don't have to impress us.
I'm
We are
something else,
impressed by you.
I'm something. No, it is not trying to prove or this thing. It is for your own change. It is much more of your own change. It is not some kind of a test or this thing. And that is why you keep on going on. I'm very sure that next 10 years I will be working. I will be acting or directing or doing something, because I had the capacity to change myself, adapt myself and get into the new garb, which is happening for good. And that is why you're seeing me everywhere. And I don't believe in that you have to have a, very lengthy role to impress the audiences. It is something which is in the character, which is in the film, which is in the script, which makes you get noticed.
That's amazing. I think you keep on reinventing, which is amazing. And then you have Anil sir. He'll make sure that you keep on reinventing and keep on inspiring you as well. Okay, Harsh, I believe you guys shot in Rajasthan. Raj, your director, I think it's his hometown as well. That's where you guys shot in as well. Yeah. So how much of a learning experience for you is it in terms of getting to know the interiors of India in a way?
See, for me, it's I think it really worked out because, one of the hallmarks of this genre is there's this kind of arbit town and it's inhabited by locals. And so Surekha's character, Satish K's character, Fatima's character, they're people that are from there. And then there's this urban stranger who kind of walks into their lives in a way.
Right.
And he has you don't normally see a person like him in these paths. And he has then a little bit of a unnerving energy where you don't know whether some people think he's a good person, some people think maybe he's up to no good, and so you kind of see it, right? You kind of see it with this genre where you have it's Harrison Ford or Clint Eastwood or any of these people. They kind of come and like they walk into this kind of in this unknown territory, and then the landscape and the location in a way is, it's not just scenic, but it's symbolic for a character's emotional state or state of mind, which is why we wanted a really kind of not a green Rajasthan. We wanted more of a what's the word for it? Like a barren landscape. A more barren Rajasthan, which is why we also had to go there and there's like small things. Like there's this one scene where I'm kind of waiting in the jeep. And Jeetu ji's character and Sanjay ji's character walking towards me, and Fatima's on top looking at me. And just that day, it so happened that it had rained, and there was this insane breeze. And that breeze is just, when you see the film, you see that shot, it makes so much sense because of what's going to happen after. It's almost like a storm is coming.
Right.
So those are the things that we didn't shoot this film so that people could say these locations are so pretty. It's deep rooted in the story, in the emotional state of the characters, and the nuances and the complexities and the atmosphere, the ambience of the film. So when you're an actor and you're going there, you're doing the scene, you're watching the monitor, and you're like, I can't believe that I'm actually a part of this world. Like I had a similar feeling in Mirzia when we shot the Ladakh sequences,
Of course.
where you're like, this is just unbelievable. With Bhavesh and AK and Ray, it was more kind of just very real, very kind of, you've seen and I've inhabited those places. But again, kind of like Mirzia, this was an experience where this world was so foreign, and you have to kind of look to the production designer Vase Khan, Shreya Dev Dubey, the cinematographer, and Raj to have actually been able to create this as magnificent, So,
Right. So Shreya is the name of the
DP,
the DOP. Okay. So Fatma, how's the experience of being photographed by Shreya? Like there's a female gaze in a way. Is it in a way different?
No, because she is very.
There are certain scenes of yours, they're very haunting with just your eyes doing the talking.
I think the sex of the DOP doesn't matter. She's just as skilled as anybody else. She's just a skilled DOP, and that's why you could see that. So it's not different. She was just really good at her job.
Like in terms of conversations, do you talk when you speak to her? Is it in any way different from any other DOP?
No, it's I've had fortunately great relationship with all the technicians. I have a great relationship with Raj. He's very sensitive. He's the director of the film. With Shrey, she's a very close friend. I've become very fond of her, and we've had a great relationship. So conversation to her set pe, it becomes personal after a point because you work so closely with them. Yeah. And I'm very fond of her, and she's extremely talented. And I think as an artist, when you find somebody else who's extremely talented, they inspire you in a way.
Right.
So, it just was very easy.
I can add to that a little bit. The thing with the great thing about Shreya for this particular story is that it's really exciting to have a feminine perspective on violence. Right? Because violence, in a way, it's kind of a little bit like sex. It's like the foreplay, it's like when you kind of tease the audience, you use your imagination because you don't see the brutality, you imagine the brutality, So that's a lot more exciting, I think, and Shrey is also a still photographer, actually. So she's really good at shooting faces, And so you have this film where you have the faces are locations also in a way, because you'll see a lot of tight close-ups, but then you'll see a lot of wide, vast landscape shots, And I just thought where it's kind of quite a brutal film, but it's also a very sexy film, So that's a kind of a contradiction. So if you have somebody with such great taste, and also that is going to kind of look at the violence and the sex and the lust from a kind of a sensitive, a little bit more of a feminine perspective, I thought that could be very new and fresh and exciting, So when you see the visuals, they're very authentic to who she is, and that's great,
Let's discover the film in rapid fire with all of you. We'll start with Anil sir.
Sure.
All right, so rapid fire with Anil Kapoor. Anil sir, how does Anil Kapoor deal with people who are vultures in the form of human beings?
Vultures in the form of you.
Love the questions.
Yeah.
Love the questions.
Yeah. I think vultures, it depends on what kind of vulture it is, There are certain vultures you just see from far, look at it, and think about it, and just admire the kind of the violence or the serenity of that vulture, and leave it. to fly. And otherwise you feel के vulture जो है, you know, कभी आके आपको नहीं दबोच ले.
ठाकुर या बसंती आपके हिसाब से कौन ज्यादा डेंजरस हो सकता है?
बसंती.
Why is that?
फिल्म देख के पता चलेगा.
Okay. Something about Harsh you wish you could do when you were his age.
I think there are a lot of things, you know. His love for, his taste for, you know, he's got very atrangi taste, you know, about films, clothes, sneakers, you know, and you know, you know, there are certain, it takes time to understand. थोड़ा वक्त लगता है, मगर जब समझ जाता है तो आप समझ जाते हैं कि there is something which is little out of the box in what he is choosing. It might be, you know, these are the three things I mentioned to you. Yeah.
So the sort of relationship that we saw in AK versus AK between you and Harsh, is that like the real sort of relationship that?
No, completely different.
Okay.
You know, in AK versus AK as well as Thar, in AK versus AK he plays Harsh and I play Anil Kapoor, but Harsh is not at all like that.
Even Anil Kapoor.
And I was also playing the character of Anil Kapoor. I'm not like that in real life. So
Alright.
we were both playing the character of Harsh and whatever the director had written on the paper. And Thar we playing strangers.
All right. How would you describe the camera work of Thar in one word?
I think sexy.
What fascinates you a lot about Satish Kaushik, the co-actor?
His brilliance as an actor.
Everyone asks you the secret of your aging in reverse. Which actress you'd want to ask the same question to?
I think these days all actors are really taking care of themselves. Yeah, they're really looking after themselves. They're all looking, you know, they are very, very physically and conscious what they wear, how they look, and they all are very cool. So I can't name one.
How do you react to these YouTube comments on the trailer of Thar? This is Payal Sharma. Anil sir, can I send my husband to your fitness class for a week? Please, कुछ tips दे दो.
नहीं, इसमें तो इतना फिटनेस का ख्याल नहीं रखिया because my role really somewhere you know, I'm supposed to be in a situation where I'm going to you know, hang my boots, and more than me, my seniors, I feel there's a lot for me to give, but the seniors feel के भाई आपके पास सिर्फ 6 महीने बचे हैं, जो करना कर लो. So I had to, you know, work towards giving that kind of a feel to the character. So अगर fitness देखनी है तो दूसरी फिल्में आने वाली हैं, वो आप, you know, you'll see them very soon.
Okay.
इसमें I'm just playing the character of Surekha. So if she still feels that I'm fit, thank you very much.
You are. You are very fit. अविनाश दीक्षित, जुदाई फिल्म आई थी, उस साल मेरी शादी हो गई थी. अनिल कपूर मेरे फेवरेट एक्टर थे और आज भी हैं. इतने सालों में कुछ नहीं बदला सिवाय एक चीज़ के, मैं बूढ़ा हो रहा हूँ और अनिल जवान हो रहे हैं.
वो डिफरेंस के फिल्म में मेरी पत्नी मुझे जो है वो she sells me to another woman, but in real life I think you know, me and my wife, who was my friend, who became my girlfriend, and we are together, and I think somewhere उनका बहुत बड़ा हाथ है मेरे, the way I look. Yeah.
All right, that's amazing. So after this amazing rapid fire, we move on to Satish sir. Rapid fire with Satish Kaushik. When you read the script of Thar, what did you find most special about it?
I found the best thing about that there was so much interesting characters in a very vast, lonely space.
Wow, that's nice. If you could ask the audience to watch Thar in just one line, what would you say to them?
See Indian cinema at its best, rooted story being told in a very powerful manner, you know.
आपके अंदर का डायरेक्टर आपके अंदर के एक्टर को कैसे हेल्प करता है?
I never interfere in director's work when I'm acting, but yes, it helps me to find my performance. My director in me always, you know, dissects what I'm doing, you know, tells me whether this is right or wrong. But ultimate decision on the director who's directing me.
When you are directing Anil Kapoor, the actor, has it impacted your friendship at any level? Any arguments that may have come?
कई बार तो ऐसा होता है कि कहीं टूट ना जाए, मतलब ऐसे. क्योंकि क्या है, we are two different people on the set. When we are working, we are both passionate people, you know. तो उसके किस्से सुनाने बैठूंगा तो अब वो हो जाएगा. But on the other side, we know each other so well, and it is we have a camaraderie which is very, very natural. In fact,
That shows.
can you believe it that we are the best friend? We call each other on sir on the sets. I call him sir, he called me sir
On set.
on set, and as soon as we get out of the set, we are different.
That's amazing. I think that's great. Yeah, you get into the role of.
Yes.
How do you describe your bond with Anil Kapoor in a hashtag?
God sent something which happens with some people. There's some relationships are made by God. That's all.
Mr. Boni Kapoor is a
और
producer.
नजर ना लगे बस.
Ji. Mr. Boni Kapoor is a producer in hashtag.
Boni Kapoor, the Don. The Don.
The Don. How would you react to people who say Bollywood lacks good writers?
I don't like it. I think we have great writers and we have great minds coming now as the cinema is changing, as the world is changing, and how digital world is going to take over, So I think we have brilliant writers, and our cinema is on the threshold of becoming one of the best in the world.
Any three co-actors of yours that you think you shared the best chemistry with so far?
One is just sitting right side of mine. One is in Delhi shooting,
Right.
And yes, I had a great sense of working. I've done 16 films, I think that is Govinda.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
that's a good one. Direction or acting? What do you enjoy more?
I love working. I love working. I like working because I think direction happened to me very when I was out of work as an actor. I was not getting work and I had to do something, but I didn't realize I had the potential of becoming a director. But thanks to some real good friends of mine who became such an important and integral part of my life, who pushed me and made me a director also, and I proved them sometime wrong. I proved them sometime, very proud of me. So it's a great journey, and but basically I'm from inside. I'm an actor, and I will remain an actor.
All right, that's amazing. Satish sir, if you can react to these YouTube comments on the trailer of Thar. This is Prashant Nigam. इतने साल हो गए सतीश सर को इंडस्ट्री में, लेकिन आज भी वैसे ही लगते हैं जैसे 20 साल पहले लगते थे. ऐसे एक्टर्स को देख के दिल खुश हो जाता है.
20 साल पहले, अब तो मैं ज़्यादा पता नहीं 20 साल पहले कैसा लगता था. 20 साल पहले हाँ थोड़ा सा मेरा वेट कुछ 4-5 किलो कम हुआ है. Nothing else. But जैसे 20 साल पहले लगता था. Yes, what he means is that my passion about acting, energy is the same, and thanks to him.
एनर्जी तो कैलेंडर वाले अभी तक है सर.
Yes.
Harsh, if you have to direct Anil Kapoor, what genre would you want to experiment with?
Drama.
Drama. Any reference?
Lost in Translation is a good one.
Okay, that's okay.
Yeah.
Your all-time favorite Western film?
I actually, to be honest, I don't really watch too many westerns, but there's a show on Amazon Prime called Too Old to Die Young. It's got Miles Teller from Whiplash, the drum film.
Of course.
It's kind of like a new age western. It's cool, that one.
When you started preparing for this film, what was the biggest challenge you faced?
To try and understand as an actor how to engage the audience and bring intensity without having the room to say or do much. When you're playing a character where you're not able to reveal too much about yourself or your motivations, and you don't have too much material to kind of work with, I think it requires a lot of concentration to be able to kind of keep them engaged, So I think I would say that.
All right, Vikramaditya Motwani or Anurag Kashyap, who has a better script sense?
This one's not going to go down well. But I think Anurag's a very good writer, right? Like I think Vikram is also a very good writer, but I think Vikram's an incredible filmmaker, and I think Anurag has written not only for obviously the films that he directs, but a lot of other films, other people as well. I think Vikram more like writes for himself. So I would say maybe Anurag is kind of a little more diverse in terms of the stuff that he can write. But Vikram is a genius also, yeah, obviously.
All right. During an argument between you and Sonam, who usually wins?
Sonam.
All right. According to you, best performance of Anil sir?
I like Pukar. I like AK versus AK actually, to be honest, I think that's That could be the best, I think.
That was really cool.
Yeah,
I think
that
was...
could be the best, I think. It's just also breaking away from any expectations and conventions, you know. So it's great.
All right. Apart from films, which topic you love to discuss with your father?
I like clothes a lot. I think fashion, I would say fashion.
All right. Okay. Something about Fatima that you would want to see in all your co-actresses?
Something that I would like to see in all my co-actresses would probably be, I think in this particular film as well, you can just see real vulnerability. You know, it's very difficult for people like us to be vulnerable in our lives, right? Because in order to be vulnerable, you always risk somebody can hurt you. You know what I mean? So what we tend to do in our lives, especially with the way the world is going, we tend to shed the vulnerability and pretend that we're a lot stronger than we are because we don't want to get hurt. But despite how many times she has been hurt, she still has the ability to be able to be vulnerable, and it's a remarkable thing, you know, because you come across a lot of people and they're almost putting on this persona. They have a persona that they put up because they don't want to be hurt almost, you know, because they're full of fear. So I think she's kind of overcome that fear, and she's kind of always like jumps in a very naive kind of way, which is like, I'm like that also. So.
All right. That's wonderfully explained. If you have to interview Tom Cruise, what is that one question you would surely ask him?
Why did you stop doing all the films of yours that I used to like 10, 15 years ago? And now you just do part 3 and part 4 and part 5 and part 6. Because, you know, I grew up on like Magnolia and Risky Business and Jerry Maguire.
Of course.
And now it's just Jack Reacher and Mission Impossible 9, 10, 11. I've forgotten what it is. So it would be nice to go back to that, I think. Yeah.
How to react to these YouTube comments on the trailer of Thar? This is Rahul Agarwal. Harshvarrdhan man, fan of his script choices and acting from the first movie, pure class.
That's very kind, and you know, it's also very encouraging because sometimes we get a little lost, you know, in our own world, and we're like, I'm doing this stuff, but I don't really know if anybody's watching, and who is this for? Is it worth it? So I've gone through all the comments actually, and I can't believe it. You know, I'm shocked and pleasantly surprised that there's so much encouragement, and people have seen Bhavesh and Mirza and AK and Ray, and they see now slowly what I'm trying to do. You know, so it's keeps me going, I think.
Right. No, I think Bhavesh was outstanding. I think, you know, even the belief system, I think was really nice.
In the film, right? Yeah. What it represents, yeah.
Yeah, it represents. Shivankar Gupta, Harshvarrdhan Kapoor is an underrated gem. Give him any character, he will nail it with perfection. Want to see more of him. ये तो आपसे सवाल उसमें ही पूछा गया था ट्रेलर लॉन्च पे कि आप थोड़ा सा कम आती हैं फिल्में आपकी.
I actually, you know, I want to work more. So like I did Vasan's film and this back to back. So I felt quite confident because, you know, like even I've spoken to Fatima, it's like sometimes we work and then we don't work. And that's quite difficult because as an actor, like even Dad will tell you, you have to keep doing it. It's like to keep getting better. So I did AK versus AK in Jan-Feb before COVID, and I knew this in my heart that the scenes had gone really well. But then we had COVID, right? So I was sitting at home for 8 months, and again I went into a bit of a slump. So I had to really pick up myself and gain confidence because it had been so long since Bhavesh, and I went to Ray, and then I did Thar, and then I came back really confident, and now again I've not been on set for almost 1 year. So it's very tough, man. I want to work more. I hope that the opportunities come my way because, you know, it's tough. It's not been easy.
You get opportunities. It's just that not.
Yeah, I mean,
you're chasing something.
I guess maybe I'm chasing something a little different, which is why one has to kind of commit to that journey and then just be patient, and then the magic happens, you know. So like Vasan called me out of the blue. So
right, yeah, I think Thar will open the floodgates. I'm sure that Satish Ji and Anji with their experience, I think
so.
they would.
हम लोग अगर एक साल ऐसे बैठे रहे ना तो हमको लगता है हम इंडस्ट्री से आउट हो गए.
सतीश जी के तो I think
insecurity हो जाएगी.
guilty minds now.
Insecurity. What Archie is saying, it is their confidence and belief in themselves. Otherwise हम लोग तो मतलब 15 दिन कहीं नहीं हो तो हमको लगता है यार आपको भी लेगा नहीं हमको यार.
Rapid fire with Fatima Shaikh. What can you tell by observing any person's eyes?
How good or bad the liar is. He is.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. What is your definition of a sharif insan?
Vulnerable. क्योंकि जो vulnerable होता है वो अपना हार्ट सामने रखता है, and I think that. But honestly, I've been bad judge of people also, so I don't know. People are very complex. शरीफ इंसान हाँ भाई समझ में नहीं आता कौन कैसा है. But Yeah, I think because I want to give a person an honest chance, I let people be who they are, and I'll see if अगर मुझे जमता है तो जमता है, then I let that person in my life. नहीं जमता है तो आप अपने रास्ते, मैं अपने रास्ते.
Who was the most Sharif on the sets of Thar?
Me. No, everybody else but me.
What are some of the qualities of any director that makes things easier for you on the set?
To be able to have an honest conversation. If I'm not doing well, अगर वो मुझे बोले कि फैटी ये सही नहीं हो रहा, it makes my job easy. I need my director to be honest with me. I need to be able to confide. I need to be able to be vulnerable. Because कभी-कभी वो line of professionalism और personal life ना वो बहुत blur हो जाती है एक point के बाद, क्योंकि आप इतना समय बिताते हो. और मेरे साथ touchwood जितने भी लोगों के साथ मैंने काम किया है, मेरा एक personal relationship रहा है. And it makes it easy for the director to also tap into my emotions and see, कि अच्छा फैटी को हम लोग थोड़ा ये करेंगे तो वो ये चीज निकल आएगी. So I think I like that honest conversation with my director.
All right. What is your personal favorite film of Anil sir?
Calendar, खाना दो. Mr. India.
Mr. India.
Yeah, Mr. India.
Okay. All right. How would you define your look in Thar in one word?
I'm playing the character, so I'm Chetna. So I don't know how externally people are perceiving it, but for me, she is that a very vulnerable person, but in a place that probably वो misfit. मुझे लगता है तो वो है. अभी उसको कैसे perceive किया जाएगा वो आपको फिल्म देखेंगे तब समझ में आएगा, क्योंकि मैं ज़्यादा explain नहीं कर पाती हूँ. I'm not good with my words, so.
And that's okay. That's okay. Shooting on sets or shooting at real location, what do you prefer more?
Doesn't matter, because it's the scene and it's the intensity of the scene. After a point, it doesn't matter, because then you're in your own world. I can be here and I can imagine that there is something, out there, and it's huge and it's vast. So I think it's being in the moment.
Okay. How would you define your journey in the entertainment world in a hashtag so far?
Amazing. I've really enjoyed. हाँ, अच्छा रहा है यार. काफी. I've been fortunate. I've gotten to work with AK. I've gotten to work with Bachchan ji, Manoj Bajpayee. All good actors. Harsh and Satish ji. मतलब जितनी भी फिल्में मैंने की है, मुझे अच्छे एक्टर्स के साथ काम करने का मौका मिला है. वो बचपन में भी कमल हसन. So, I've had a great journey.
Okay, how would you react to these YouTube comments on the trailer of Thar? This is Mandar Jha. Getting my Netflix subscription renewed just for this one. It looks so fresh and something worth buying subscription for, but what excited me is the presence of Fatima in the film.
Oh, that's so kind.
You should speak to Netflix now. You're getting subscriptions for them.
Free lifetime.
हाँ, next project में थोड़ा payment ज़्यादा देना. Yeah, no, that's very sweet and kind. I'm so glad that people are liking my work and they want to watch me more.
All right, this is Namit Das Gupta. Watching Fatima and Harshvarrdhan in the same scene is so fascinating. This is an excellent pair. Want to see them in a hardcore romantic film with good music.
Why not? I would love to work with him again. We've got, we are friends and we have a great rapport, and it's easy to work with him. It will be lovely to get a script where, we get to explore different characters. I think it'll be fun.
Yeah, I hope this film does well so we can work more.
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't, we'll still do it.
Yeah.
Maybe it looks like.